Well, that was a stupid idea. How the hell am I supposed to make a transition like that seem natural? Oh, hey. And welcome to my review of King Gizzard's 25th album, The Silver Cord. Before this year, King Gizzard said that they would be dropping 2 albums that were very closely connected with each other. They would be, I guess, yin-yang albums, as they put it. And we definitely got that. We got Petrodragonic Apocalypse back in June, and we got The Silver Cord in October. If you haven't seen my Petrodragonic Apocalypse review, the joke at the beginning of this video probably made no sense. And also you should check it out because it was a good video. Surprise, surprise, I ended up giving Petrodragonic Apocalypse a very favorable review. It was just an excellent album. There really were no low points in it. I pretty much liked the entire thing, and I was just super hyped to see what the next album would be. King Gizzard announced The Silver Cord about a month before it dropped, and I had not even started my Petrodragonic Apocalypse review yet, so I was like, yeah, I gotta get that done. I finished my Petrodragonic review the day before Silver Cord released, and I ended up posting it like 30 minutes before the Silver Cord was about to release in my neck of the woods. I'm already pretty iffy on listening to singles before the album drops, but I definitely was not going to listen to like half of the album before it even came out. That's just a personal preference of mine, but if you ended up listening to the singles before the album dropped, did it affect your enjoyment of it at all? I'd love to find out. I listened to the album immediately after it released at midnight, and it was actually the most positive reaction I had to an album by King Gizzard since Ice Death Planet's Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava. Yeah, after my first listen of that album, I was like completely hooked, and I had a very similar reaction to The Silver Cord. And with all the intro stuff out of the way, let's get into my review of The Silver Cord. The Silver Cord, funny enough, is actually King Gizzard's shortest album and their longest. What I mean by that is Giz actually released the 7 bass tracks of the album, but they also released 7 extended mixes to go along with them. This was a curveball by Giz. They'd never done anything like this prior, and honestly, I'm so happy that they did it. I'll get into it a little bit more as I go through the album track by track, but just having a shorter version of the album, but also having a longer one to kind of like depend on the mood or the vibe that you're having, it was a really great idea. The bass album clocked in at about 28 minutes, and then the longer extended mixes was about an hour and a half. The bass version of this album is actually the shortest album King Gizzard has released since their second LP, Eyes Like the Sky. And regarding the extended mixes, we had not heard an album this long by Giz since Omnium Gatherum, which is about 10 minutes shorter than the extended mixes. And initially I was very conflicted as to whether I should just try to get my review out of the bass album as quickly as I could and then maybe do a separate review for the extended mixes later on, as I actually only listened to the regular version for about 2 weeks after it came out. I hadn't even touched the extended mixes until, like I said, about 2 weeks because I really wanted to know this album inside and out regarding the bass versions. So that way I could truly see the differences and, just be able to pick out all the little details and see, what they called back to in the regular version and yada yada. I'm so happy I held off because I just don't think I could really talk about the bass versions without talking about the extended mixes because they are just so different. Like, I initially thought maybe that the extended mixes would be like, I don't know, just the regular version, but kind of like over and over and over again. And that is completely not the case. Like these, like you'll have the bass versions of the songs and then the rest, like there'll be 10 minutes of a completely different sound. Before getting into the track by track breakdown, I gotta mention the album cover. I actually don't have the vinyl yet, so I can't really show that off yet. But I love the picture of them. It's just like every member of the band, they're all looking in like separate directions and stuff, and they got those really cool glasses by Radio Eyewear. Let me know if you ended up snagging a pair of those glasses. I didn't even know that they went on sale, and they were like $150. I probably would not have gotten them anyway, but if you ended up snagging a pair, I'd love to hear about it. Some other notes I want to get into before this is I actually had a prediction video, or I kind of like just gave my predictions prior to the album dropping. I swear I didn't like listen to the singles at all. I wasn't cheating, and I actually kind of nailed it right on the head, I don't know, you know what I mean. My prediction was essentially, I really thought they were going to go back to the last 2 tracks of Fishing for Fishies, at least that sound. You got Acarine and Psy Boogie, which those 2 tracks were so different than anything else on Fishing for Fishies, and they were very electronic, very groovy. And honestly, I feel like the tracks in The Silver Cord just feel like souped up, mature versions of those songs. I also kind of guessed that maybe Joey's side project Bullet would get, some influence in this, and yeah, I was completely right about that. Like, I had just listened to Joey's recent Bullet album that came out, and I really loved it, and I definitely got some deja vu listening to The Silver Cord. And with all that said, let's finally get into the track-by-track breakdown with Theia. By the way, I'm going to be doing the regular version and then the extended mix like back to back. I'm not going to do the base album and then go back to the extended. I don't want to do that. I think it'll just flow better if I, kind of just do it regular extended mix. You'll see. Alright, so we have Theia, and honestly, right away, I got some vibes of Butterfly 3000, at least the opening track, Yours. I felt like Theia and Yours had a very similar vibe. You'll have to let me know if you kind of saw some similarities myself. I mean, they're both intro tracks, so maybe that had a part in it, I don't know. Right away, the silver chord is immediately brought up by Stu, who does the vocals on this track. And if you don't know, the silver chord is essentially this figurative chord that links your physical being with your spiritual self. If I got that kind of wrong, let me know, but that's kind of what I got out of it. Just a really cool idea all around, and I actually really love that the last line in the bass version of this song is Destroy Theia. It's just kind of a cool little change up and really goes with the vibe of what Theia was. Unfortunately, I do have my first gripe with this song, and it might kind of be minor, it might not be a huge deal to some people, but I really feel like they kind of messed up the transition from Theia into silver chord. If you don't know what I mean by that, just listen to Theia and then have like a different song in the queue. Like the very last line, it goes Theia, but it kind of like cuts off, so it's just like Thay, and then the very beginning of silver chord is which sounds cool if you're listening to the album like all together, but it's just very jarring if you listen to Theia by itself. I don't know, I wish it just went on a second longer and it would just sound so much better in my opinion. But now we head into the extended mix, which basically the first 3.5 minutes of it are the exact same as the regular version. I mean, kind of goes without saying, it's an extended mix, so it builds upon the regular version, but that's what it was. And alright, I'm going to get this off my chest now. I am not going to just automatically give the win to the extended mix because it's long. Like, I'm not like, long song equals good. Like, I love when Giz has long songs. I love Head on Pill, Timeland. I love Timeland and Laminated Denim and all that stuff. But I just really think Theia is it's just too long. This is the longest of the extended mixes, and it goes over 20 minutes, which is the longest Giz studio track, by 4 or 5 minutes. It's kind of crazy. I'd say from the 3-minute mark to the 7-minute mark, we're fine. I'm really liking it. It's very different from the bass version of the song, and we actually get our first Petro-Dragonic Apocalypse callback. Not gonna lie, some pants were shat when I heard the Motor Spirit line just repeated, and it sounded so different than the, how it was sang in Petro-Dragonic, and it was such a pleasant surprise. I loved it. But unfortunately, after that, you kind of just have 7 minutes or so of randomness. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't like to get controversial in my my Giz opinions, but I just feel like I could have got left out. And then, however, but the last 5 minutes of the song, it goes right back into being awesome as it previews the silver chord. As Stu will, I'm kind of spoiling ahead, but Stu sings Joey's line in the silver chord. It sounds really cool, and it just gets you hyped up for the silver chord title track. Again, if you just cut 7 or 8 minutes of this and made it a 12-minute long track, basically what the other extended mixes were lengthwise, you'd have a really good song here, but I just don't know if I can recommend the extended mix over the bass version. Again, depending on the vibe, you might be going for a walk and you want to listen to an extended version, or, you might be tripping or something like that, or, a little inebriated, I have no idea. But for me, I think most of the time I'm going to be going to the regular version of this song. And that takes us into the title track of the album, the second song in the album, The Silver Chord. This song is unbelievable. It is probably my favorite title track in Giz's discography. I might have to think about that a little bit more, as Float Along, Fill Your Lungs is fantastic, but this is such a good song. I feel like the regular version of this track is the absolute perfect length. It really does, it does so much well. I felt like with Theia, it was kind of I don't know, it's kind of funny. I was complaining the extended mix was too long. It's almost like the regular version of Theia is a little too short, I guess. I don't know. Maybe if that one had another minute or two, maybe I'd feel different, but I don't feel that way at all with Silver Chord. I think it's the perfect length. You've just got this really distorted voice that sings at the beginning of this song, and it's just very hypnotizing. It's a little hard to understand what they're saying unless you have the lyrics pulled up, but it is very cool. And the payoff going into the second half of the song is just so satisfying with Joey's vocal section. It's great all around, but I just absolutely love when he's singing about, like a dog on a freeway, and then I'm just a poor boy traveling with my body's body imagery. It's so catchy, it'll get stuck in your head all day. It does it to me all the time, so I can't say enough good things about this track. It is absolutely up there for my favorite on the album. And speaking of my favorite on the album, we head into the Silver Chord extended mix, which, wow. The transition from Silver Chord into Set is amazing, but I can't say enough good things about the transition from, the regular Silver Chord into its extended mix. It is just awesome. The rest of the song is quite different from the regular version of the Silver Chord, and I love it. It's very reminiscent of like a 90s club rave scene. And I don't know, this might seem weird, but it also really reminds me of Ratchet and Clank for the PlayStation 2. Like the music in that game, I swear you could just put the extended mix of the Silver Chord in that, like in one of those levels in that game, and it would totally not feel out of place. Like, here, just check this out. Listen to a few of these like snippets. You see what I mean? It kind of sounds like it, and I'm only referring to the PS2 Ratchet games. The ones on the PS3 up until the present day are just like this weird orchestral like ambient stuff. I don't know. It's not that good, but the PS2 ones, I mean, they slap. And again, that's just what I think of when I hear this song, and that's definitely a good thing because, yeah, that soundtrack it slaps. The extended mix of the Silver Chord and like a lot of the other songs in the extended mix track list gives you additional lyrics that are completely brand new. It's just super cool getting like additional layers to these songs. Like initially I thought it was just going to be like callbacks to Petrodragonic Apocalypse, but that's not the case at all. In fact, this song actually has 0 callbacks to Supercell, which if you hadn't noticed, what it does is the first track in Petro coincides with the first track in Silver Chord, so you got Motor Spirit and Theia, and the second track it goes Supercell and the Silver Chord. And although there aren't any direct references lyrically to Supercell, it's actually mind-blowing that when you look at the riff of each song, they line up pretty much identically. And I'm actually referring more to the regular version of the song, not really the extended mix part, but just if you haven't seen it already, there's this YouTuber named Mario, which I mean, I guess that's kind of not very specific or anything like that, but I'm going to link the video in the description. It blew my mind. He basically went through and he found the sheet music for each of the songs. It was able to compare them side by side, and it's just crazy, especially the Supercell and Silver Chord tie-in. It's just unbelievable. He also does all the lyrical references, that coincide with each other, so you have to check it out if you are interested in these albums at all, because I would never have noticed any of these in a million years. I mean, of course I would have noticed like the Motor Spirit, lyric when it's that direct, but the music aspect of it, it's really tough to kind of see those similarities without, kind of seeing that video, so definitely check it out. Next, we head into the final of the singles with Set. I saw a lot of people list this as their favorite track in the album, and I can totally see why. This song actually has a good blend of Stu vocal sections as well as having Ambrose have his own moments. I think it just blends super well, and the overall tone of the song is very funky and just, again, super catchy. My favorite part lyrically is the Cetus set, cow horn headdress, it's like Ambrose's section near the end. It's just great. And now we head into the extended mix, which this is actually interesting because this actually does feel kind of like an extended version of Set. Like, while the first 2 songs in the album really kind of just go and do their own thing, this one really keeps that Set beat in the background, and it really just kind of keeps it going for like 10 whole minutes, and it's actually really damn cool. Also, the instrumentation and the sound of the Set extended mix really gave me some Timeland vibes, which that is totally a good thing. I know Timeland wasn't everyone's thing, but I really enjoyed that album, and I actually think that back when Timeland was, being teased and everything, I think what the Silver Chord is kind of what I was expecting Timeland to be, so I guess, I don't know, it kind of worked out in the end. Set extended mix also has a very, very neat callback to the song Converge from Petrodragonic Apocalypse, of course. At first, I will admit, I thought the Converge, it felt a little forced, like they were kind of like, crap, we gotta put in, a Converge reference, but like, now I think it's dope. I think it really fits well with it. But I don't know, that was just a thought I had initially. I was listening to this album a few days ago with my girlfriend, and she actually got some big Daft Punk vibes from this song in particular, definitely going to their album Homework with the sweeping synths. The vocals near the end of Set extended mix also feel a bit more raw. I love how it kind of combines Stu and Ambrose singing at the same time. It just perfectly closes out the track in a great way, and it also gives gives a preview to the next track, Chang'e. And speaking of Chang'e, we move on to track number 4 with Chang'e. Chang'e was definitely probably my least favorite song if I had to pick one after my first listen to the album. It was just kind of, I don't know, I definitely needed more listens to really appreciate it, and I'm so happy I kept giving it, more listens because it is a great track. In Chinese mythology, Chang'e is the goddess or the woman in the moon or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a historian when it comes to Chinese mythology, but that's what I got from Wikipedia. And moving along into the extended mix for Chang'e, I definitely get Butterfly 3000 vibes throughout this entire album, but it is very prevalent in the extended mix for Chang'e. In particular, Shanghai, I definitely just feel like they are very similar instrumentally. Chang'e also features the bridge from Witchcraft, and then also having the Witchcraft. I really love that part as well, because again, it's just so different from the sound in Petrodragonic Apocalypse. Just hearing like the Witchcraft lyrics in a completely different manner, it's great. Not much else to add on with the Chang'e extended mix. It is very cool. I like it, but I don't know. It's not like I really need to listen to this one over the regular version. I think they both get the job done. And now we head into the last 3 tracks of the album, kicking off with Gilgamesh. This song doesn't waste any time. It immediately hits you in the face with that Gilgamesh repeating line, and it really sounds good. Sometimes with Giz songs where they just repeat like a line over and over again, it can get a little grating, especially on like a first listen, but I don't know, I definitely was very into the Gilgamesh thing like immediately. It is awesome. I also got to give some love to Ambrose's vocals in this song as well, as it really kicks it up a notch. I feel like without it, it might kind of feel a little, I don't know, it's just like it would be missing something, I guess, but he does a great job with it, and there's a lot of verses in this album where he just sings so fast, and it's great. It sounds awesome. Also, a neat little tidbit I saw on Genius Lyrics that I would never have noticed in a million years is that verse number 3, the first letter of each of the lines spells out the word Gilgamesh, so Giz always freaking blowing my mind. Yeah, cool. I'm also a big fan of the bass in this song, but if I'm being honest, I think that the regular version of this song, it's kind of like Theia in that it feels a little lacking in a little bit. I'm just super happy that we got the extended mix because I'm not sure how I'd really feel about this song if that didn't exist. And speaking of which, as we head into Gilgamesh extended mix, I love the intro that this song gets. Again, like I really like in the regular version how it just starts immediately and hits you in the face with the lyrics and everything like that. But I like how in the extended mix you get like a 1-minute intro to kind of just like warm up a little bit, and then then the Gilgamesh thing comes in, and it's really good. But I'm definitely happy it got a different take on it with that intro. The extended mix also features a really cool Gila, like callback to Gila Monster. It's very neat. Again, I was maybe on my first listen, I was like, okay, this is a little random, but now I love it. It's great. I've got to say that the extended mix of Gilgamesh definitely also gives this a more of a chill vibe. I feel like the regular version of the song is a bit more intense and like, I don't know, a little dreary, I guess, but the extended mix, especially the latter half, it does get pretty chill, and I really like that take on the song. This is also a good opportunity to bring up Cavs, who he got his drum kit taken away, I guess, or like his real drums taken away from this album, so he ended up using an electronic drum machine all throughout the album, and it really shines in Gilgamesh. This song just makes you feel like you're at a rave in space, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's kind of just the vibe I get from this for most of the album. It's just like, you're dancing in space, but yeah, definitely with Gilgamesh. I know I said the Silver Chord was probably my favorite on the album, but I think I have to give the title to Swan Song. I just have listened to this song over and over and over again since the album dropped, and it never fails to get me going and making me want to get up and just move. It is excellent. Especially about midway through the regular version of the song, Ambrose comes in with this amazing vocal section, and then there's like this insane drop that is kind of fades in and out throughout the song, and it's so good. It's one of my favorite drops in any King Gizzard song ever. However, my favorite part of the song and my favorite part of the entire album is Stu's vocal section that comes in where it starts off about, you cut the cord, and then it eventually goes into, he's talking about be yourself and be your spirit, don't fear it. Like, it honestly, it gets me a little emotional when I listen to that part of the song. It just feels like Stu is like singing directly to you, and I don't know, it's just very, very, very good. And then we go into the extended mix of Swan Song, which I definitely enjoy. I will say that the regular version of the song is so good on its own. I feel like it's a perfect length, but I love this song, so I'll definitely take an extended mix. And it immediately kicks off with a killer callback to the song Dragon from Petrodragonic Apocalypse. I just feel like the verse that they call back to works so well with how they change up the vocals. It sounds so good, and it's probably my favorite callback in the album to, you know, Petro. It's very good. However, I will say I feel like a good bit of the extended mix is like a little too different from Swan Song. It's like I love the regular version of the song so much that I just want more of it, that it kind of feels like it's like, all right, well, this doesn't really sound much like Swan Song, if that makes sense. It just kind of feels like some parts of the song there's really not much going on, but definitely at the end when Ambrose's vocals picks back up and the Swan Song is a little, when they say Swan Song, it's a little slower. It's definitely a really cool end to the song. I'm definitely happy we have the extended mix for Swan Song, but I find myself listening to the regular version a bit more. But we do end up getting a very cool foreshadowing of the final song in the album, Extinction. Extinction is definitely the song I feel like I've heard the least amount of people talk about on my channel when I do like little poll discussions and stuff like that. And I don't really understand why. I think it is an excellent album closer. Because again, this is the last album, I mean, well, it might not be the last album, but it's presumably the last album in the Fishing for Fishies, Rat's Nest, Petro, Silver Chord saga. So the fact that the last song is called Extinction after all we've been through these last 4 albums, it's just very fitting. And you might think that with, the topic of death that is prevalent all throughout this album, and the track title being Extinction, you might think that the song would be very depressing, but that is the complete opposite impression I get from this song. I don't mean to sound like an edgy Redditor, but I really do not like religion much at all. It's just not a part of my life whatsoever. So when I think about death, it can kind of just be like, I don't know, I die and that's it. But this song really makes me kind of just think about it more in like a spiritual sense. Maybe not in a religious sense, but just kind of like, I don't know, just the peacefulness of death. It doesn't have to be such like a, I don't know, depressing thing. There's, you can be in the music and yeah, I think you get what I'm getting at. This song also has a nice little callback to Crumbling Castle. It's just kind of not really a throwaway line, but it gets a line, and that's, as a Polygon Wonderland fan, that made me smile. On its own, I think the regular version of this song is a perfect length, and I don't know, I think it's really great. But we do have the final extended mix on the album with Extinction Extended Mix, where the regular version of the song kind of just faded out and closed out the album beautifully. The extended version of the song just keeps on going, and it's great too. They kind of just keep up the, I can see everything, I can be in the music. They just keep on repeating it over and over again, and again, I said earlier how sometimes that can get kind of a little grating to me, but definitely not in this instance. I think it's really nice. And we also get a really dope callback to Flamethrower, the last song in the album for Petrodragonic Apocalypse. It just sounds really cool with the flamethrower, throw a flame. It works really well. And considering Flamethrower pretty much had like its second half sounding very chill and like kind of a bit electronic, it does kind of feel very fitting that we kind of go back into that sound with Extinction. And I really like how at the end of the song, it kind of just feels like the entire band gives their vocals. I'm pretty sure it's not everyone. It's probably just Ambrose, Stu, and Joey that does it. But I really love how it kind of isolates their vocals and it feels like they're all singing together. It's like a grand finale about, instead of being in the music, you could fly in the music. It's an excellent end and an excellent end to the album. But yeah, that is it for the Silver Chord. I covered the regular versions and the extended versions. Hope you're still with me. I know it was probably a long one, but I really appreciate it. I have to say that when thinking of King Gizzard's electronic heavy albums like Sketches of Brunswick East, Made in Timeland, I think the Silver Chord takes the cake as their best in that genre. I really enjoy it. But it is also very different than anything they've done. So I've seen a lot of people say they love this album, but I've also seen a lot of people say they really do not like it and it is near the bottom. And I can definitely see both sides. It can be a bit polarizing. I absolutely love the fact that we have regular versions of the songs as well as the extended mixes. So no matter the vibe, no matter the feeling, if you just want to listen to a little bit, you can do that. Or if you're going on a long road trip or something, you just want to jam out to Silver Chord, you can do that as well and kill like an hour and a half. It's great. I guess in conclusion, I would say the regular versions of Theia, it's tough for Set. I really do like the extended version, but I also kind of think that the regular version of Set fits it better. I also really like the regular version of Chang'e, but I do think that the extended versions of the Silver Chord, Gilgamesh, Swan Song, and Extinction also do a great job as well. Honestly, there's not a bad song in this album. I think it's great all around, but again, I'm so happy you have the choice. You can have either way, whatever the way you want to experience the silver chord, you can. This is King Gizzard's 25th studio album, and I really have heard no rumblings of another album coming. I think Stu said in an AMA that he doesn't even know what the next album is going to be, so that'll be a little bit nice for this channel. I can kind of focus on not reviews. I can kind of make other Giz content, so I'll be kind of looking forward to a little bit of a break, but who knows, maybe they'll just shadow drop another album. You know, we'll have to see. I'm there for it no matter what, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that is essentially it for my review of the Silver Chord. I have been very busy brainstorming a new bootlegger project. If you've never heard my bootlegger albums that I have here on the channel, I'd highly recommend you check them out if you haven't. I really put a lot of work into those, and they're so much fun. What I do is I take the bootlegger songs that they publicly release, and I try to make my own album out of it, and it's just really fun. I don't take two songs from the same show back to back. I always try to mix it up and create those seamless transitions. So I'll link below to my previous ones, and I will also just kind of give a little bit of a preview for my next one. I definitely got a lot of Petrodragonic in it. That'll be really cool. I got just a lot of the new stuff that they premiered, like Invisible Face, which if you know me, that is my favorite Giz song. They finally live premiered the entire song at Chicago earlier this year, so that is definitely going to be in the bootlegger as well. You'll have to just stay tuned for that. And that does remind me, I was going to say, I really hope that we get some Silver Chord tracks live, especially Swan Song. That would be so cool. Set in Swan Song would be so much fun. And I know that there is a little bit of, they sometimes have difficulty getting those kind of electronic sounds to play live, like Butterfly 3000, for example. We've only ever gotten Shanghai from that album, and Intrasport, for example, has never been played live. So I'm not gonna hold my breath that they'll do Swan Song and other songs from Silver Chord, but it would be very cool. Honestly, they could just play the studio versions, and just being able to dance and fucking go crazy with other Giz fans to the music would just be so freaking cool. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for sticking out to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you have been enjoying the Silver Chord, or just, whatever music you've been listening to. Just hope all the vibes have been going well. I gotta thank my girlfriend for really helping me out with a good bit of this video, as well as Mario, not Mario, the Mario Brothers. His channel is just Mario. I will link it below. Highly recommend you check it out so you can kind of see all the little details connecting Petrodragonic and Silver Chord. Thanks again for checking out this video. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you all in my next video coming soon.